Good morning, everyone. So, welcome back to our distance learning program. And today we will continue the lesson on our Blueprint 6. So, as you know, in the Blueprint 6, you already learned the Module 2, which is about the culture. And we already reached the Lesson 4, which is about pop idol, isn't it? Alright. So in today's video lesson, we will focus on the grammar point, and you can find the lesson on your book, which is on the page 29. So if you open your book, you will see the important lesson. So what are you going to study today? Sure, the lesson you are going to study today is comparative and superlative. So what are these two for? I hope you already know what they are. If you already learned this before, it is a good time for you to review. However, if you forget these, it is good to learn it again in order to make sure you remember those lessons. So let's start with the basic questions. I would like to draw your attention to some of the concepts of the lesson that you are going to study. So we want to look at the picture. So this is a math teacher in one of the international schools. Let me confirm that he is not in the Cambodia. And here is the other female teacher. She is a history teacher. So as you can see, there are two teachers in the picture. So the first question I would like to ask you is, which teacher is strict in your school? So before you relate it to the picture, we need to look at our school environment. So which teacher is strict in your school? Which is very, very hard. You cannot go to school late, you cannot forget to do your homework. So this one we call strict. So in your school, which teacher is strict? Okay. For me, when I was a high school student, my math teacher, he was very strict. Okay. So here, let's look at the picture again. There are two teachers. Look at the face and look at the situation in the class. So the question is, who is stricter between these two teachers? Which one is stricter? Everyone? So can you guess which one? The math teacher or the history teacher? Who is stricter? Okay. The other questions. Which teacher is the strictest in your school? So all the teacher, he is the number one who is the strictest. No one is stricter than him. He is the strictest one in your school. So who? Is it math teacher, English teacher, or the history teacher? You might not know, because all your teacher may be very friendly to all of you. You might not experience a very strict teacher at all, maybe. Alright, so as you notice in the question I asked you, there are two words highlighted in the red. So these are the forms that you are going to study today. So the first one, you can see stricter. We have the ED. So this one is the comparative form. And the other one we have EST, which is the superlative form. So what are these two forms? So it's glad you asked. So let's look at this one. So what is comparative and what is superlative? Let's put it this way. To understand the comparative, we need to look at the word itself. So comparative comes from the word compare. So in this situation, you compare one thing to another thing. So in this situation, there are two things, and you compare one to another. So the form that you can use to compare these two things, you can use EOR, so which means the adjective. If the teacher is tall, which one is taller? If you want to compare A and B, which one is taller. Or you can use the other form, which is more than. Let's say my female friends is more beautiful than yours friends. Okay, so you can use these two forms to compare two person or things, animals. But it depends on you which one you want to compare. But this is the comparative form. You need to remember we use EO and more than with the adjective. Okay, so how about the superlative? So superlative, let's say you have the car and there are 10 or 20 cars, but the best car is only one. It is the super, right? So we use superlative, which means it is the best. So there are 20 cars, and which car is the fastest? So here we use EST with the adjective to compare, not to compare, to talk about something that is best. Or you can use the word most. Okay? Alright, so when we use EO or more than in comparative form, and when we use EST and most in superlative form. Okay, so here you will see. So let's start with the comparative form, which is EO or more. So as you can see on the lesson here, so we use EO for short words. So those words have only one syllable. As you can see the word cheap. So to compare two things together, let's say hamburger is cheaper than the pizza. Okay, large, and you need to compare something larger. My house is larger than your house. Just example. My car is faster than your car. You are thinner than me. So these are the words which has only one syllable. Okay, and these are the adjective. But sometimes we can also use EO for two syllables word that end in Y. Okay, but we need to change Y to IO. Let's look at the word lucky. So we need to change it to luckier. She is luckier than him. Okay, this exercise is easier than my exercise. Earlier, pretty, you can use prettier, but those words are two syllables, but it ends in Y. So happy, you can say happier. So for more spelling, you can go to the internet and check these exceptions. So let's look at some of the examples. Let's say old, which is only one word syllables. So you are older than me. Here, easier. The exam was quite easier than I expected. Can you walk a bit faster? So these are the examples that use the comparative form. So let's move on to the other form, which is the superlative form. I'm sorry, it's not the superlative form, but it is still the comparative form, but we use the word more. So remember, we use EO for short words, which has only one syllable, and we use more for the longer words with two syllables or more. Let's say the word serious. Okay, serious. So it becomes more serious, often, more often, expensive, more expensive, comfortable. How many syllables? Comfortable. So there are three syllables. So we need to use more. Let's say my teacher is more serious than your teacher. Okay. We also use more for adverb that end in ly. Okay, if it ends with ly, which is the adverb, for example, let's say slowly. So he walked more slowly than the boy, or more easily. He finished the exam more easily, more seriously, and more quietly. So these are an adverb, and these are adjective. Good. So let's look at some of the example in the context. You are more patient than me. The exam was quite difficult, more difficult than I expected. Can you walk a bit more slowly. I like to have a more reliable car. So some of the structure here, as you notice, we use the word then to compare two things. Very good. Now you already know the comparative form, that we can use ER for one syllable word to compare, and for words that are long, which is two syllables or more, we use the word more. Okay, more plus adjective or more plus adverb that end in ly. Now let's move on to the other structure. So the other structure, which is the word that we can use both ER or more. So some word we can use both form. For example, let's say the word clever. So here clever, though it is two syllables word clever, but we can use he is cleverer or he is more clever. Let's say the word quiet here. Quiet is a two syllable word, so we can use quieter or more quiet. Very good. However, some adjectives, some comparative form, they change. Okay, we call it irregular comparative form. For example, let's say good and well. And if you want to say the garden look gooder or better or more good, no, it is not the right way. So the right way that you can use to compare this is the garden look better. So it means good than, since you tidy it up. So better is a comparative form of the word good or well. However, if we have the irregular form of the word good and bad, we also have the irregular form of the word bad and badly, which is worse. Far, it changed to further. Okay, further. Good. So here are the comparative form. So let's look at some of the form that we can use in order to some of the expression that you can use with comparative and superlative. So let's start with the ER and ER, which is more and more plus adjective and adverb. This is the structure. So let's look at the example. As AKB48 grow bigger and bigger, it also grow more and more popular. Okay. The other form, the cuter they are, the better. They are one of the most popular musical acts in Japan. So it is the superlative form. And intensive, so intensive, it refers to the words such as much, a lot, fun, considerably. So this word is used to plus the comparative form. However, the word by far, far and away, we plus the superlative form. So as you see in the slide presentation here, there is no superlative form for you. But let me give you some of the example. What is a superlative form that you can use? It's similar to the comparative form as well. So you remember we use est or most. Very good. So let's look at this. Let's turn back to this one. Okay. So imagine this one is the superlative form. Okay, we are not talking about comparative form. We talk about the superlative form. So this one change to est for short word. For example, tall, it comes to tallest, and for most, we use to the most beautiful, which is two syllables or more. Okay, so this rule apply to the same form, which is comparative form, or superlative form. We just change the word. Alright, so as you know, after you learn some of the grammar points, there should be some practice exercise. So let's start with this one. Number one, what you need to do here is to circle the correct word. So here, as you see, friendly, it becomes friendlier. So friendlier is the comparative form. So which intensive that you can use? by far or much? Okay, the answer. So the answer, everyone. The answer is much. Okay, so the answer is much because it is the comparative form. So number two, who is the popular member of the group? So remember, who is the, when we use the, we use the superlative form, the least popular member of the group. Three, the easiest or easier, sorry, the earliest or earlier we leave, the better. So because this is the structure that you learn already, is this one is the comparative form, this one should be the comparative form as well. Number four, he's become more and more famous. He become the more famous. So the word famous is an adjective. So here the we use with superlative form. We cannot use with comparative form. So the correct answer is more. Number five, Tokyo is one of the biggest. Cities. Okay, city in the world. Good. Number six, your dancing was grow considerably better. Okay, it's kind of improve. Okay, so everyone, that's it for the video lesson today. And I hope you enjoy this video lesson. If you have any question regarding to the superlative form and comparative form, you can ask your homeroom teacher in your. So where should you ask, everyone? Alright, you can ask in your online study group, which is the Telegram group. So now it's time for us to say goodbye and enjoy your holidays. Goodbye, everyone.